Good morning, hi everybody. Welcome back to Blu-Roy Movies. How you all doing? I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. The last few weeks and even months, I seem to be doing pickups, watches, pickups, watches, pickups, watches ad nauseum, and I'm even boring myself to be honest. So God knows what I'm doing to you guys. So I thought I'd change it up a bit, and I had a bit of an idea, a bit of a brainwave. God, what's happening with my barnet here? Look like a grey tinted. But yeah, I've distracted myself now. Yeah, I thought I'd do something different. I thought I'd select, and it's been a task, it's been difficult. I'd select my favourite movie by genre. Now, I've chosen 11 genres. I've gone for horror, sci-fi, action, western, romance, because I'm a bit of an old smoothie, animation, drama, thriller, comedy, because I'm a comic genius, crime, and war. Yeah, 11 different genres. And it's been quite a task. I've left out some films that are favourites of mine. I couldn't fit them in. I think the biggest being Alien, which is probably in the top 5 films of all time for me. But horror I like one a bit more. Sci-fi I like one a bit more. Yeah, so I'm sorry, Ridley. It's with great disdain I've had to leave out one of your masterpieces. So, yeah, let's get on with this. Let me know what you think, what your favourites by genre is, and you can even maybe do a video response. That'd be great. I'd be really interested to see what everybody's favourites by genre is. Yeah, let's get into this and let's see what I've got. Right, I'm starting off with horror from 1973. William Friedkin. Yeah, you've got it already. The Exorcist. Linda Blair in this. Oh, brilliant bit of child acting that. And it is still the highest grossing Warner film of all time if you allow for inflation. I just love this film. I just love the atmosphere of it. I think it's the only film that's genuinely frightened me. Maybe that and Salem Slot when I was a kid. But just the atmosphere, the build-up, the actual exorcism itself. The wife and I, we went and watched it in the cinema a couple of years ago and had a real great time. 4K, I think it looks really good. A few people have poo-pooed it, but yeah, I just love The Exorcist. And The Exorcist is my favourite horror film of all time. Narrowly beating out Alien. I do feel bad for leaving Alien out, but yeah, just love The Exorcist. Right, we're going for sci-fi next, and I couldn't look any further than Blade Runner. With a gun at my head, I might even say this is my favourite film of all time. I just love it. Ridley Scott's best film, in my opinion, from 1982, and it's Ridley Scott's favourite film that he directed, and I can see why, because this is absolutely fantastic. Like The Exorcist, I just get drawn in with the atmosphere of it all, the rainy city futuristic scape, the story. Don't watch it with the commentary over the top of it. That absolutely ruins the film and just spoon feeds it to you. They were worried that the audience wouldn't get it at the time, and it did take me 2 or 3 watches to fully get the grasp of what's going on. But once you get it, it's just brilliant. I love the ending with Rutger Hauer and his monologue that he totally improvised. Where did that come? Absolute act of genius. Harrison Ford, brilliant, and it's Sean Young. The last scene, the rooftop showdown, if you like, with Rutger Hauer. It's all Rutger Hauer for the whole scene. Harrison Ford doesn't say a single word, but just elevates it for me. Yeah, I'm going to go out there and say, yeah, it's actually my favourite film of all time, Blade Runner. Absolutely loved it. I've watched it time and time again. Must be about a year since I watched it last, and I've got the hankering to watch it again very soon. And another one, brilliant 4K. Next up for action, now I've got 1997 here. John Woo directed Face Off. I've thought long and hard about Die Hard, and I do love Die Hard, but Face Off, you've just beaten it out. It's just brilliant. The story of a cop and a criminal who's in a surgical procedure, their faces gets changed and they each take each other's role, and Cage becomes the cop instead of the bad guy, and nobody will believe that John Travolta is now the cop. Yeah, I love this. Nicolas Cage is manic, delicious, delightful, best with this. For me, maybe Nicolas Cage's, I might not say best performance, but my favourite performance of his. It's all action, and I just love it. Another film I could watch time and time again. The airplane scene at the end, they had to do that in one take because they destroyed they destroyed a real aeroplane and that, and only had one chance to do it, and it looks brilliant. Yeah, I love this film. Face Off, again, another one I haven't watched for over a year or so, and just doing this video has made me think now I really must rewatch some of these films again. Face Off, brilliant, brilliant stuff. Now I've gone for Western, and this one will probably surprise quite a few, and it would have surprised me about a week ago or so, because I rewatched this film and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I might have some Regency bias, and I probably do, to be fair, but this, now I'm saying at the moment, is my favourite Western, and that's the Oxbow Incident from 1943, directed by William A. Wellman, who, incidentally, William A. Wellman, I mean, he won the first picture with Wings, and his daughter is still alive, and I've actually had a couple of short conversations on Instagram with her before about her dad's work. Yeah, she's a really good lady and really open and likes talking about her dad's work, and why wouldn't you when her dad was that good a director, I suppose. Yeah, this is Henry Fonda and Dana Andrews, and it's brilliant to look at these two guys. They live in like a small, sleepy Western town. There's not much to do apart from drinking and fighting, as they put it. And these rustlers come through town, stealing, this is allegedly, some cattle and killing the owner. And the town get together this lynch mob in the absence of the sheriff, who's away on some other business. And they're determined that these rustlers come murders are going to get hung that night. And it's a look at morality and how men get together as creatures, and reasoning sometimes goes out the window. Yeah, really great film, brilliantly acted, very dark for the time, which is why it didn't do so well in the boxes at the time, because it was wartime and people didn't want anything as dark as this. They wanted something more uplifting, and I think as years has gone on, it's garnered a really good appreciation, and is in fact Clint Eastwood's favourite film. And I'm not going to argue with the man. If it's a favourite of Clint's, it's a favourite of mine. That's the Oxbow Incident. The Blu-ray is quite heavily out of print now, but it's free to stream on YouTube, and I'll urge anybody who loves the Westerns, or anybody who just loves film in particular, go and give it a watch. It's only 1 hour 15 minutes long, so it zips along, and it's wonderful. I love this film now. Right, being the old smoothie that I am, romance. And romance, I've gone for James Cameron 1997 Titanic, another film that I absolutely love. And a lot of people don't like it for the romance side of it. They rather it just got on with the destroying of the Titanic and the sinking, which, spoiler alert, it sinks if you don't know. But I just love the romance between Leo and Kate. It's great the way it builds up. He's the guy from Skid Row in Ireland, and she's this from this rich family, and opposites attract, much to the dislike of the rich girl's family, and it's just opulent and huge in scale, this film. There's some good tricks to make it look actually bigger than it was. You see the scenes in the engine room. Cameron, he hired actors and extras who were 5 foot tall just to give it more depth and scale and feeling of hugeness. Just look at the genius director Cameron is, just to think of something like that, just to make it look bigger than it is. Yeah, I love this film. It is a long, but that doesn't bother me. I just let it unfold. Yeah, Titanic, absolutely great film, and another brilliant looking 4K. Yeah, love Titanic. Right, next up, animation, which was a bit of a stretch for me. I don't really do animation. I do wind up people at the fans of animation by calling them cartoons, and yeah, sometimes I get a bite out of it. It's all in good fun. So I've gone for one that's probably obscure to a lot of people, probably including animation fans, and that's La Planète Sauvage, which translates, as my French friend and subscriber Hamin Ula will tell you, to the fantastic planet. Yeah, this is a French film, and it's directed from 1973 by René Larue. René Laloux. Oh, getting him mixed up with Danny LaRue. And yeah, I just really enjoy this. It's all about this planet where these big blue giants are the rulers of the planet, and the humanoid figures are their slaves, and it's the humanoids battle with enslavement and trying to free himself. Yeah, really good fun sci-fi that, like I say, I'm not really into animation, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And another film I could do with a rewatch, actually. Yeah, it took a while to figure out animation, but that's what I'm going with. La Planète Sauvage, the fantastic planet. Right, next I'm going for drama, and another film I've recently watched, and the second appearance of Henry Fonda on the list, and also a similar sort of vein of character for Henry Fonda. One man trying to defend somebody who's looked upon as being undefendable, and that's 1957, Sidney Lumet, 12 Angry Men. Alongside Henry Fonda, we get the likes of Lee J. Cobb, who's really good in this, Martin Balsam, Jack Klugman, who you might remember from Quincy back in the day. And this is just a brilliantly acted film. It's all set pretty much in one room, just guys round a table talking and discussing, and a lot of shouting, as they're these 12 jurors who come into the fate of this guy who's accused of murder, and if they find him guilty, he's going to be executed. And they're all against this guy, apart from Henry Fonda, who brings logic into it and gradually turns them all round to his way of thinking. Yeah, brilliant, brilliant film. Like I say, just fantastically acted. Brilliant Criterion release this. I don't think there's a 4K. I'd love a 4K of this. Again, probably recency bias with me because I watched it 3 or 4 days ago. But it's just bloody brilliant. Another short film as well, hour and a half, and just zips along. Yeah, wonderful stuff. Right, next we're on to thrillers. And I couldn't do this list without putting a Hitchcock in. So I found one for thriller, and to be honest, it could be one of a lot of Hitchcock's films for this section. But I've gone with my favourite actor, Jimmy Stewart, Rear Window. What an incredible film from 1954. Jimmy Stewart's 4 films with Hitchcock he did. Grace Kelly, she did 3 films with Hitchcock. The chemistry between the two is fabulous. Even like Stewart was 46 at the time. Grace Kelly was 25 at the time, which they might not get away with today. But in them days, it was a lot different. The leading men were a lot older than the women, it seemed. And again, another pretty much one location setting, as Hitchcock laid up with a broken leg. All he can do is look out the window with his telescope and he's spying on the neighbours, and he suspects a murder's gone on. And it's about him trying to convince, first of all, Grace Kelly and his detective friend that something's going on, and then they take it in to investigate themselves. Just a brilliant thriller, like I say, that ramps up the tension. Yeah, wonderful stuff. It's going to have to be my favourite Hitchcock because I've put it in this section. So, yeah, I did say North by Northwest the other day, but maybe I contradicted myself. But I'm going to go for Rear Window just for the sakes of this video. Yeah, brilliant stuff. So that leads me on to comedy, which, again, is not a huge favourite genre of mine. I prefer my humour a bit more subtle than, say, gross out comedy like Hangover or something like that, which is probably why I've gone for this in the end, and it did take some thinking about. And that's from 2004, directed by the wonderful Alexander Payne. Sideways. This is a lovely, gentle for me comedy with Paul Giamatti, Thomas Hayden Church, Virginia Madsen, Sandra Oh. This is about Giamatti and Thomas Hayden Church. Hayden Church is about to get married, so they set off on a stag weekend in the vineyards of California, which look absolutely breathtaking, somewhere I'd love to visit. And they decide to go on a wine tasting weekend. Now, Giamatti's character is this depressive, suicidal character, a wine buff, and he's all there for the wine. Thomas Hayden Church is a more fun-going, loving, outgoing type of character. He's there for one last fling before he gets married, much to the chagrin of Giamatti, who just wants to taste wine. And hilarity ensues with a series of situations they get themselves into. Yeah, I just love this comedy. For me, it feels like a 70s film almost in a contemporary type setting. Yeah, like I say, just wonderful, gentle comedy that really resonates with me. I love Paul Giamatti. He's, again, a favourite actor of mine. He just plays the down on his luck guy so well that you can identify with him sometimes. And Alexander Payne, brilliant director. I haven't seen his latest one yet. I must rectify that. Yeah, that's Sideways. Brilliant stuff. Right, next we're going for crime. And this is probably the selection when I was choosing a crime film that was maybe my favourite. It's probably ended up surprising me most that I've chose it. And that is The Dark Knight from 2008, directed by Christopher Nolan. Now, until I last rewatched it, and it was my first watch on 4K, I thought it was a good film, not a great film, but I don't know what it was about the last time I watched it, whether it was because I watched it on 4K and it enhanced the experience that much for me, but I absolutely fell in love with it last time I saw it, and probably the fourth time I'd seen it, and it's taken that many viewings for me to feel that way about this film, which just goes to show, doesn't it? Sometimes stick with a film because you never know. Maybe another 8 viewings of Grease and I might kind of like it. I doubt it. Yeah, this is great. The cat and mouse between the Joker, late great Heath Ledger, R.I.P. Like, if this was what you died for, then man, you did a great job. And Bale's Batman, just the cat and mouse, the back and forth, the one getting the upper hand and the other getting the upper hand. Absolutely wonderful. It's big. It's huge. At the time of filming, there was only 4 IMAX cameras in the world, and they managed to destroy one of them, so that must have been pretty costly. Yeah, I'm not a big Nolan fan either, but Christopher, I salute you for this one because it's a wonderful, wonderful crime film, and at the time of recording, my favourite crime film. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, we're wrapping this up with war, and there's so many good war films in this category, but I have plumped for one of me, well, I say one of my favourites, it's my favourite, you idiot, The Deer Hunter. Michael Cimino directed, 1978. What a cast. Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, John Cazale, his last film. He was desperately ill when he filmed this, and you could see it, bless him. John Savage, Meryl Streep, she's beautiful in this. And I just love this film, the whole 3 hours of it. This first 3/4 an hour to an hour is a wedding scene, which I absolutely adored. You get to know the characters. The town itself, where these guys live, is almost a character in itself, and you get to know how the town operates, how the people interact with each other. There's a wonderful scene where the guys are playing pool together before they go to war, which is one of my favourite films, one of my favourite scenes in film. The war scenes themselves are great. The Russian roulette scenes are absolutely iconic. It says bold and brilliant on the front, Cimino's masterpiece, and I'm wholeheartedly 100% agree with that. The Deer Hunter is a masterpiece, is a classic, is my favourite war film. And again, I'm going through all these films. I just want to stack them all up in the play, disappear from the world for a few days and watch them all again. That's what talking about films does to me. I love talking about films, and I love that you guys seem to enjoy me talking about films, and the interaction's brilliant. So give me a thumbs up if you like what I've done here today. Maybe think about subscribing if you want to hear more of my nonsense. I'll talk to you all soon, and let me know down below some of your favourites. I'd love that. Thanks very much, guys. You all take care, and I'll catch you all at the weekend. Goodbye.